Good afternoon. My name is Mark Chambers, and this is my presentation on self-driving cars and the implications. What exactly are driverless cars? Well, the partially autonomous vehicles that are already used in the present cannot be compared with truly autonomous cars. The object of this presentation is to present autonomous vehicles principles of at least level 3, which you'll see on slide 4. The target of many constructors is to launch in the next several years level 4 autonomous vehicles. Not much is known about their cost, while their impact cannot be really predicted at this stage, especially on the overlapping areas and domains that will interfere with having driverless cars. It is intended that self-driving cars are to replace in the future the traditional transportation systems, or this means that many changes will be required. Example, policies, job types, public funding of the transportation industry, traditional driver's license processes, because you can't really have the same kind of driver's license that you currently have now for driverless cars. Legal aspects do not currently allow self-driving cars to be used on the roads unless test scenarios are the main purposes. One exception occurred in Phoenix, Arizona. It is a challenge to use in parallel both fully autonomous vehicles and traditional cars. Probably a transition period will be necessary because of the difference in how they are handled. Self-driving cars have the software built starting from the design of embedded systems. This requires redesign and reorientation to modules functions that improve the resource management. Even if these cars seem less error-prone than traditional cars, software must be programmed flawlessly, otherwise the output can be dangerous. Now, let's look at the levels of automation for self-driving cars. Level 1. In general, this category covers examples like acceleration tasks, small steering, etc. These tasks are performed only by the system, thus without the human intervention. The human factor is still decisive for the control of the remaining tasks. The system can automatically take care of those tasks one at a time. At level 2, a typical example for this category of autonomous system are represented by advanced cruise control or original autopilot system. Example, some Tesla vehicles. Unlike the previous category, this time the car is capable to automatically take safety actions. However, the human driver has to remain in alert mode. The system can now automatically take care of 2 simultaneous tasks. At level 3, this is the bottom level where we can refer to a vehicle as more autonomous. Even if the human driver is still necessary, the control of a series of safety critical functions can be transferred to the system. It is called conditional automation. Because of the traffic and environmental conditions play a significant role for the transfer. Some producers consider this level being more dangerous than the next levels, mainly because the appreciation error of the human factor might reduce the autonomy advantages consistently. This level of self-driving is appropriate for highway travels, for instance, but not city roads. Level 4. The vehicles from this category replace the human driver for many scenarios. However, the driver can program the system to not drive when areas are unmapped or when conditions are not known sufficiently well. It is considered this level as appropriate for metropolitan areas, for instance. Level 5. This category covers all those vehicles that have self-driving capabilities under all scenarios. The automation level is the highest in this case. Now, Operation of driverless vehicles. The software models represent the most complex part of the self-driving cars. The decisional process is performed in the way how the software manages to process the inputs from the sensors. The path to follow by the car is also designed by the software. The sent instructions are the results of this processing. This process impacts all tasks from the construction of the map to control of the acceleration or steering. The software also commands the obstacles avoidance and implements the so-called hard-coded rules. A series of algorithms based on AI techniques are responsible with prediction or smart detection of objects beside the usual video recognition. The methods of dealing uncertainty represent another key implementation detail. This design can introduce differences between self-driving car models and their rate of success. The navigation system of self-driving cars is composed by sensors that serve many purposes, for instance. Collision warning, video camera, radar, ultrasonic or blind spot monitoring are only several examples. It can be easily noticed these extend the capabilities of a traditional car. In addition, many producers have specific implementation settings for the same functions. Example, Google Vision differs than Tesla in what regards the radar system. Namely, Google uses a light-based system instead of the radio waves. The prevalent method used by self-driving system is to use the cloud environment for acting upon traffic data or environmental conditions and maps. This approach uses data mining and big data for distinguishing relevant data among garbage in real time. And by garbage means, unforeseen things thrown in the road or potholes and things like that. This helps them monitoring the surrounding areas and contribute to better and more informed decisions. The connection to the cloud is essential because the internal computer usually solves only small tasks locally. This trend needs to be improved in the future. Similar thoughts regard the IoT security issues and cybersecurity problems in general. For software engineers, these represent real challenges from the viewpoint of software assurance practices. Now, market trends on main producers. Even if many producers are optimistic with respect to the year when a self-driving car will be available for purchase, Level 5 autonomy, let's say that again. Even if many producers are optimistic with respect to the year when a self-driving car will be available for purchase, that is at the Level 5 autonomy, Toyota has a more reserved opinion and consider the next decade will represent a test period for what is commonly referred now as Level 4 autonomous vehicles. Many producers have predicted 2020 being the year when a self-driving car capable of running on highways will be available. Actually, they have included the requirement of built-in self-driving capabilities for the next products, the next set of cars. It is not possible to confirm or refute these data entirely. However, it is also possible for some of them to have been led by immediate visions of their main competitors. For instance, Ford has invested $1 billion in Argo AI. Toyota, $1 billion investment in Toyota Research Institute. GM, $581 million for acquiring self-driving car startup, namely Cruise Automation. GM also has $500 million invested in Lyft. Volvo has put a $300 joint venture with Uber, $300 million that is. Intel has a $15.3 billion for buying Mobileye, plus $250 million for making fully autonomous cars. Uber itself has invested $680 million for purchasing Otto. Hyundai has $1.7 billion investment in research and development division. Hyundai, however, is developing its own autonomous vehicle operating system with the goal of using a less computing power. Its target for highway products is 2020, while for metropolitan areas set for 2030 as their limit. So what are the implications of this technology? Now, safety. We're always thinking safety. And safety involves here the number of accidents and human errors that can be avoided with the contribution of fully automated cars. The decisions can be done faster and less error-prone by the system instead of the human drivers. Thus, an important cause of the accidents will be seriously diminished. Self-driving cars pose security concern because there is the possibility of hacking the software and allow malicious users to control the driverless cars remotely. In the IoT context, these fears are even stronger because currently the security protocols are not well established. Thus, the cybersecurity concerns are serious and require a careful approach. What about the economical and social equity? From social and economical perspective, the wide adoption of the technology will lead to the displacement of many people who are currently working as drivers. In addition, the public transportation services must be entirely redesigned. In the worst case, this can lead to budgeting issues for the involved areas. Not least, there is also an impact on related industries or domains. It is difficult to predict the changes due to the cascade effect which occurs. Environmental. The influence on the environment depends on the future standards that will govern the production of cars. Apparently, the electrical cars will not damage the environment compared to the classical cars. Gas guzzlers, and well, they're not so much gas guzzlers anymore, but they still use fuel, biofuel, due to low emissions amounts. Therefore, it is possible the adoption of the technology to impact for hurry up. Sorry, I lost my place here. It is possible the adoption of the technology to impact or hurry up the move to electrical cars faster than it was initially anticipated. Security. Better security for car computers interconnected through IoT will lead to stronger security overall for internet work or OS security. Self-parking features, which is already used by some producers, BMW for example, it is likely to arrive to intelligent decisions, including decisions involving unmapped areas or road paths. Less accidents are produced if and only if the producers find smart ways for the communication between self-driving cars and the rest of decision factors. For example, traffic lights, edge situations, legal aspects. All right, in conclusion, the successful adoption of the self-driving cars in practice mainly depends on the alignment between legal regulatory aspects and technological capabilities. It is needed to bear in mind that, for instance, these vehicles are not allowed to move on the road of most U.S. states unless testing purposes are declared. More than this, excepting few cases, the global legislation and governmental sectors did not provide so far complete solutions for the issues raised so far by this major change. It is necessary that the adoption to be done once the alternatives were identified for the parties that must redefine their business, example, transportation industry. Even if many of the expected advantages seem being immediate, solutions must be found for impacted industries and large categories of people in order to not produce severe imbalances. At the moment, IoT environment is not stabilized in what regards the availability of security solutions. This represents a severe obstacle for self-driving cars. since the control over sensors and software will be done using IoT connectivity. Fortunately, the predictions about the integration of AI capabilities in the software decisions of autonomous vehicles are more optimistic. In part, these are sustained by the amount of AI features that are integrated quite fast in the daily life, especially in metropolitan areas and developed countries. Thank you.